locate the ball with your hands at the last second. Because the moment you put up your hands, that's when the DB is going to react. But if you put it up at that last second, hey, the best thing the DB is going to do, they're going to turn into a referee, because the only thing is going to be they're going to decide if the touchdown counts.
It is Christmas week, which means Santa is giving us a triple header on December the 25th. Our Santa is here in our virtual studio. For those watching on YouTube, you're seeing it. Doug Flutie, head to toe in a Santa outfit. Merry Christmas.
Elf on the shelf quarterback, huh?
Surfing Santas in Cocoa Beach, New Year's Eve, or Christmas.
I love it.
Santa Flutie, huh?
So we got 3 games December 25th. I don't know if any of them mean anything. Last week, the guys in stripes gave Dan Campbell a lump of coal. Caleb Williams brought all the holiday magic. And I tell you what, guys, Drake May's stocking is full. This is Flutie versus Stegall, your head-to-head weekly NFL picks and analysis show. I'm your host, Arash Madani. The namesakes of this show, they are not welcome in Las Vegas anymore. Both Milt Stegall and Doug Flutie crushing it against the spread this season. You both went 2-1 on your picks last week, and you're both 28-17 on the season, tied with just a couple of weeks to go in the year. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to both of you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Yes.
Guys, there's just so much happening around the league. And I was thinking about this yesterday. You know, in a lot of ways, outside of Philadelphia, it just feels like the NFL has completely flipped from last year to this year. You know, we'll get into a lot of that over the next half hour. But I want to start in Jacksonville, because who would have thought at the beginning of the years it'd be the Jaguars making the statement, and they did. They went into Denver. They beat the AFC's top team. And Doug, neither quarterback was shy about slinging it up there at Mile High. And the first score for each team on the day, you got your whiteboard out. You're going to diagram exactly what happened when Trevor Lawrence went to Parker, Washington, and then Bo Nix hit Cortland Sutton.
It's amazing. I always, you see fade routes all day, the outside receiver, an X receiver near the sideline trying to run a fade versus press coverage. He gets pushed to the sideline and you run out of space. I was fortunate to have a guy, Eric Moulds. I put him in the slot and ran slot fades. When I was in Calgary, it was always Alan Pitts was my star. That guy in the slot is so dangerous. Right. And what happens is, now you're running a fade route from inside, and you've got all this space out here. So even if it's perfect coverage, the ball can always be put over the outside shoulder, and you have a place to put the ball. Now, in Trevor Lawrence's touchdown, it was perfect coverage. So he decides to I'm going to throw a laser to get the ball there before the DB can get his head around, slings a line drive to his receiver, bang, just right over the head of the defender. Perfect. Not perfect throw, but it doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
You can throw a line drive, you can lay it over the top, or you can put it anywhere to the outside. And I loved doing it to the short side of the field. And this, you try to move your receiver inside, put it back on the outside, and this guy's got to come underneath right now. So there's no danger of a defender falling off. On the wide side of the field, now you've got even more space. I didn't like it to the wide side as much because the ball was in the air a lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
But to the wide side, when Denver did it, the corner was so far off and inside that he just ran away from him horizontally. And there was width separation. And he just throws the ball out here, and 10 yards away from a defender. And the great thing is that even if it is a blitz, an all-out blitz, and you bring the safety out of the middle, quarterback can drift and just lay it up. Pass protection's never a problem. This is what I say about the quarterback beating blitz with his arm.
Right.
Yeah, you can have unblocked guys, and you're still lobbing the ball down the field. You got all this space to the outside to put it. And they went back-to-back touchdowns in that game. I thoroughly enjoy that stuff. I love seeing just use the space of the field. It's not a complicated play. It's just one-on-one, and all of a sudden, okay, here comes the blitz. I'm putting it up outside. Then my big-time receiver make the play.
So for those listening, Doug's basically diagramming the wide side receivers to the right side of the formation. And his point is, hey, look, the quarterback can kind of drift to his right. And Milt, as the receiver there, you're eyeing the corner more than you're eyeing the safety or anybody else on a play like that?
Well, the main thing, and Doug spoke of it, especially when you're on the short side, the one thing you can't do is you just can't run wide and leave the quarterback not much space as far as the sideline goes. So you want to try to get upfield and stack that defender as much as you can so you can leave as much space as you can for that quarterback. And then after that, the thing you want to do is you want to locate the ball with your eyes right away, but locate the ball with your hands at the last second. Because the moment you put up your hands, that's when the DB is going to react. But if you put it up at that last second, hey, the best thing the DB is going to do, they're going to turn into a referee because the only thing is going to be, they're going to decide if the touchdown counts. So you want to stack that DB, leave plenty of room for the quarterback if he wants to throw it behind you or throw it outside, and don't put up your hands to the last second. If you can do those three things, there's a great chance you're going to score a touchdown.
So is that what they talk about, the quarterback to receiver chemistry? Just knowing for a receiver how the football is getting to you, and Doug, as the quarterback, making sure I'm putting it in the spot where I know my receiver is going to pull his hands out at the last minute.
I relate it to feeding the post in basketball. There's always somewhere to put the ball. You can put it down low. You can lay it up high. You can put it over the back shoulder, the guy baseline. There's going to be a spot. So what happens is if the corner is in great position and high on the receiver, expect the back shoulder, expect the ball to be a line drive back shoulder up here. If Milt said the receiver does a great job of stacking, now it's going to be somewhere over the top. It might, if he crushes them, it's straight over the top. If it's close, it's outside shoulder over the top. And it's just a feel of where that defender is, how much space you got the outside. And that's why I love it from the slot. You've got a lot more space to the outside, so you always have a place to throw it.
Which is probably why quarterbacks have their favorite receivers or their security blankets, right? Third and down, you got to get it down. We saw on Monday night, Brock Purdy over and over went to George Kittle. He knows what he's getting with that pass catcher and how he likes to go about his business. Real quick, Doug, I know you talked a lot about Eric Moulds being your guy in Buffalo. How does that chemistry get developed? Is it in practice? Are you taking time away from the field to kind of talk things through? How does that work, Milt, with quarterback receiver to build that chemistry?
Well, it happens over time. It helps when you're Eric Moulds. You're a big, strong guy who can go up and make plays. That makes life easier for a quarterback because he knows he has a guy who he can depend on. He can throw it just about anywhere. And the catch radius for a guy like Eric Moulds, it's all over the place. He can make that strong catch when those little guys are on him. When a bigger guy is on him, he can make the adjustment also and make it. So it happens over time, and you have to have an athletic guy who can go up and make plays. Very rarely, let's be honest, is it a small guy because their catch radius is just not that. It's not that great. So you want that big, strong guy who can go up and make that strong catch.
Yeah, the little guys have to create separation. The little guys have to get separate. Big guys don't necessarily. Eric Moulds and I, during the offseason, you're working routes, you're doing all that. But we also played a lot of basketball together. Yep. We hung out. I was throwing alley-oops to him, like, just throw it up, let Eric go get it. He could have played in the NBA. He had an outside jumper, and he could jump out of the gym and slam. It was So anyway, we built a relationship off the field as well.
It also helps when your quarterback is buying you great presents around Christmas, and I'm sure Doug did that for his guys.
Troy Aikman was talking about it last night. Dan Marino bought Isotoner gloves. I thought the guys they were brand new at the time. The DVD players were just the portable ones just coming out.
Yeah.
You know, now they're buying cars.
Contracts.
Through the roof.
When you're making $2 million a game, you can buy cars, so it doesn't matter.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This is Flutie versus Stegall. Every week, Doug and Milt drop their picks. We talk NFL storylines. They share locker room stories. And we also talk Christmas gifts this time of year. By the way, what a present for Jacksonville. What Trevor Lawrence has been able to do the last few weeks. He leads the NFL in passer ratings and touchdowns, but more than that, guys. Touchdown to interception ratio since week 13, 12-0.
No interceptions.
That'll work.
That'll work. That's the method.
I can't do that bracket, so
let's get to this week's picks on Stegall versus Flutie. So, Milt, it's wild. Here we are at the end of December.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of the month in Western Pennsylvania, they wanted Mike Tomlin out. I mean, I can't remember a time in Pittsburgh where the head coach's seat was hotter, the noise was coming from everywhere. And would you looky here, since 3 straight wins for the Steelers, the AFC North title is just about wrapped up. And Milt, you expect that to continue for them to cover the 4 in Cleveland this week?
Yeah, they'll cover because this game will wrap up. If I'm correct, it'll wrap up the AFC North. It'll wrap it up. It's pretty much wrapped up, so it doesn't matter. So this is a great opportunity for them to continue that momentum once again. Mike Tomlin, 19 straight seasons without a losing record. That's pretty spectacular. And Aaron Rodgers is playing the best football he's played since he's left Green Bay. You know, he hadn't thrown interceptions. I think he has 5 total touchdowns, almost 800 total yards in this 3-game win span. So they're going to go in and going to put it on Cleveland. The one thing I'm looking out for Cleveland is Myles Garrett. He has an opportunity to break the single-season sack touchdown record, and hopefully Aaron Rodgers doesn't go out like Brett Favre when he did with Michael Strahan and Strahan just falls down in front of him.
And then they can bootleg right in there.
Let's not do that, Aaron Rodgers. But Cleveland, they won't have a chance against the Pittsburgh Steelers because they're playing for a lot more than the Cleveland Browns. So Pittsburgh will handle the Cleveland Browns pretty easily.
What was it, a couple of weeks ago, the Browns ran into the Tennessee Titans, right guard, left guard, center, triple team on Myles Garrett. Everybody's trying to find a way to slow down 95. Tell you what, people are trying to slow down Drake May, Doug, and it was hard on Sunday night for anybody in a Baltimore uniform to do it, even with New England's 2 tackles down. You've been telling us all year, Mike Vrabel's the real deal. Then the Pats coming off a loss. They're down 2 scores. They're on the road Sunday Night Football. They get it done, and you like for that to continue as a 13.5-point road favorite, but it's against the New York Jets. The points don't phase you, Doug.
Playing the Jets, okay? So, you know, let's keep that in perspective. Drake May the other night was the first time he looked a little shaky early on, like weren't seeing things real clear. The mental part of the game of keeping your guys up, keeping them believing, keep putting them in the position. And Patriots are a darn good football team. Yeah, and they just turned around. It didn't look lucky. Let me put it that way. The comeback did not look lucky.
Tell you what, the Pats' point differential this season, guys, plus 110. That's the best in the AFC. The number 1 seed is still up for grabs. Game of the week may very well be in Western New York. 4:25 window. Bills, Eagles. Buffalo has won 4 straight. The defending champs just got their hat and T-shirts for the NFC East title. And Milt, you like Philly as a 2-point dog on the road. Why?
Yes, I do. Because early on, the Philadelphia was trying to find their identity as far as their offense goes. The last 3 weeks, they've established that. It's been Saquon Barkley running him. He's rushed for average of like 112, 113 yards. They've been giving him the ball over 20 times a game, and he's had success. So that is their formula for success, and I think they're going to continue that. You know, A.J. Brown has made some plays, but when Barkley gets going, everyone feeds off of that, and they can win some games. So I think they're going to rely on that, and it's going to carry them for a victory in Buffalo. I can't believe they are the underdog, and I'm sure they feel disrespected by that, but I can understand that. When Josh Allen is playing, most teams will be an underdog, but Philly's going to pull this one out and come away with a victory.
Doug, you've been worried about that Buffalo defense all season, and now Philly comes to town in late December.
Yeah, I originally picked that. You know what? No, let's do it.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm changing back to my original pick. Let's go. I'm taking the Bills versus your Eagles in Buffalo. Josh, please play. I backed away from it. I was saying Josh Allen may not play. So that's good. This could be the deciding factor. We're tied right now with 2 weeks to go, 6 picks left.
Let's do it, baby.
I'm taking the Bills. Let's go, Josh.
The Santa versus the Grinch, baby. It's on.
Yeah, baby. Shoot that ankle up, baby. Shoot that foot, whatever it is. Let's go.
Milt, we baited him into it. You know, he wanted to take the Bills the whole week, but he was a little reluctant.
A little afraid of Josh.
But And you get why there's so much reluctance and apprehension and all those things with the Bills, because none of it makes sense. But then you look up at it, and they've won 4 in a row.
Well, the games they lose, you started this whole conversation with, their defense has been very skeptical all year of that defense. They're just up and down, make some plays enough that Josh can go win the game. So it's scary. But, boy, they're dynamic. When he starts doing his thing,
oh my God,
and they believe, playing at home, all that stuff. The Bills legitimately play great at home. It's a night and day situation for them.
So at the start of the season, the Indianapolis Colts had no believers. And then Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor especially, they started rolling off some wins, and the Colts were rolling, and they got to 8-2, and they trade for Sauce Gardner, and people are saying, is the AFC going to go through Indianapolis? And while everyone was high on Indy, not Milt Stegall. Let's run the tape back on what Stegall said when the Colts were the toast of the AFC.
One team who a lot of folks thought weeks ago that we're going to just blow through the league, who I don't even think is going to make the playoffs right now, and that's the Colts. I don't think the Colts are going to make the playoffs right now. They started off 7-1, and they were crushing it. They were averaging like 33 points a game, only had 4 turnovers. In their last 4 games, they're 1-3. They're averaging like 21, 22 points a game, and they have 8 turnovers. And their remaining schedule are the Jaguars, the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Jaguars, and the Texans. I don't think the Colts are going to make the playoffs.
Well, congratulations, Milt. You nailed it. I guess the only point you missed was that they're going to bring a 44-year-old back off the couch. So now Jacksonville this week goes into the Dome. They go into Indianapolis. They're a touchdown favorite. I guess the question, Milt, because you're taking the Jags, are you taking the Jaguars, or are you just going against the Colts at this point of affairs over there in Indy?
Both. Yeah, it's pretty much both. Jacksonville is playing some of the best ball of any NFL team in the league right now. Trevor Lawrence, will he be the MVP? No, but probably the most improved player of the year. He'll get that award. ETN is doing some great things in the backfield. And then you look at the Colts. Is Phillip Rivers even going to play in this game? They still have a shot at the playoffs, but I got a better chance of growing a ponytail than they do of making the playoffs. So they may put in Riley Leonard, and if they put him in, it could be a 21-point victory for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And even with Phillip Rivers, they'll beat him by double digits. So it's a combination of both of why I'm picking the Jacksonville Jaguars to cover and win this game.
Doug, you had an inkling about the Jaguars early in the season. Like, we had fun with it, but there's something about Jacksonville that caught your eye. What was it?
They were just scrappy. They weren't making and the big difference right now is they're making big plays on offense as well. Early in the year, they were just kind of nickel and diamond, moving the ball a little bit, but playing tough, finding a way to win, playing great defense. And it's like this team is going to be in every game they play, just from watching them play. Now, they weren't explosive. Now they're explosive. Now, all of a sudden, Trevor Lawrence uses his legs a little bit more, making plays up the field. That stuff wasn't there early in the year. So that's really it's getting me excited. I don't know what are the power rankings that I looked up, but they were number one.
Number one.
And I was like, you got to be kidding. And early in the year, I thought, scrappy team, maybe be borderline playoff team. Now they're a power team.
Now they're 11-4. They just go into Mile High and beat the Broncos, as we've talked about. And Doug, you like Jacksonville to cover against the Colts as well. As dangerous a team as you're going to find right now in football. And the formula doesn't seem that complicated. Don't turn the ball over. Ball security has been at the forefront of this. I wonder for both of you, I think what's so interesting about this whole Jaguars thing is they were on nobody's radar. At this point, they're playing with house money. What's that like being in a locker room where you have just kind of been, nobody's paying attention to you and you're getting hot and you're playing good football. And now all of a sudden, with a couple of weeks to go, the spotlight's on you. What's that like in a locker room?
Well, for me, I loved it when no one was paying it. When the spotlight wasn't on, you're confident within your locker room. and there's no pressure. You're just going out and playing. You get near playoff time, you're looking at the hunt now, where are we going to fit? Now you start thinking about the other situations, the outside forces, and you start feeling a little bit of the pressure. You get when expectations come along, now comes along the pressure. And my formula for that was just ignore the noise on the outside, stay within your program, stay within your routine, and keep focused on just do what you're doing, and lock that other stuff out.
I'm sure this is what Trevor Lawrence has been waiting for a long time. Since he graduated from high school, and he's from a small town like an hour north of Atlanta, Cartersville, Georgia, they labeled him the next great one, not just for college, but professional level. He was a number one high school player when he went to Clemson. They basically said he could have turned pro after his freshman year. He was a number one draft pick. They labeled him the guy, and it just hadn't happened. And now we see it now. We see him reaching his potential, him going out there and showing why he's been the top player in high school and college and the number one pick in the NFL when he came out of college. So I'm sure he's excited about this, but it means nothing if you can't finish it off. Yes, they're doing some great things, but when you get to the playoffs, you got to make something happen. You just can't go in there and not play well and say, okay, well, we reached this point. You got to go in there and make it happen. So I'm excited for him because there's been a lot of pressure on him, and now he's living up to it.
No, he's got his hair at the correct length now. He got it just long enough to be Samson and just turn it loose. And I think it was like a half inch too short for the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, if you go to Cartersville, Georgia, everyone wears their hair long. So that's the thing they do in that little town.
You come here for the picks. You come here for the analysis. You come here for the geography lesson too. The Jaguars have won 6 in a row. They're leading the AFC South. So to sum up, Milt likes the Jags this week. He likes Philly to go into Buffalo and win as a 2-point dog, and for Pittsburgh to keep it rolling, covering the 4 in Cleveland. They're tied, Flutie and Stegall, on the season. Doug likes his Bills to win over Philadelphia. That could be a big one coming down the stretch. He also likes Jacksonville, and Flutie's also taking the Patriots by 2 scores over the New York Jets.
Quick thing, if the Bills win, I'll jump through a table. I'm calling it right now. I'm coming down on the table if the Bills win. There it is.
I just met a guy I've been asked to jump through tables a bunch of times whenever I go up to Buffalo. I just met a guy that still has an issue going on with his back because he jumped through a table 2 years ago. So be careful. Do it right.
Be careful. Are you going to do it in Atlanta or in Cartersville, Georgia? I guess that becomes the question.
He's banking on not having to do it. He's really in his Phillies, Eagles.
So, guys, I mean, the story of the weekend was also the Chicago Bears, who did it again. They keep pulling the rabbit out of their hat. Caleb with the throw to DJ Moore in overtime. They were down a couple of scores late in regulation. The sequence of events that had to happen for Chicago just to force OT, let alone win that thing, has almost been really the story of their season. 4th quarter comebacks aplenty. Look, they all count the same in the regular season, but the question becomes, is this sustainable in January? Can you continue to play with fire and not get burned?
Well, I've been skeptical of the Bears all year long. I'm like shaking my head. Now Milt's on that bet. He had him last week. He was sweating that one out. That one's not good. The guy trying to recover it, he was like a third baseman backing up and playing the hot, letting it play him. I mean, that was bad. 2 guys let the ball get away, and then the third guy that should have got it backed off and played it timidly just to get the opportunity was ridiculous. And then they took advantage of it. So Caleb Williams in the 4th quarter games plays athletic. He just, all the stuff goes out the window and he just becomes a football player. And I wish he could bottle that and do it for 4 quarters.
Right. Yeah. It's going to be difficult, but hey, I mean, it's gotten them to this point. I think they've had 6 games where they were down in the last 2 minutes when they were able to come back and win. And if you're able to do that as a young quarterback, your confidence level is pretty high. You're walking on water right now because you feel regardless of what's going on, I can bring my team back. And you can see that in that last drive when it was 4th and 4 and he had to throw the touchdown or whatever. You could see his confidence. He felt like, I'm going to make this happen. I don't care what's going on. Yes, we're down by 10 points with less than 2 minutes or whatever, but I feel I can bring my team back, and that's exactly what happened. You don't want to always put your team in that position because it's difficult to always have success, but so far, so good, and they're in first place in NFC North, so it's worked for them so far.
And the team we all thought would be there are now eliminated. The Detroit Lions will not be in the playoffs this year. A couple of offensive pass interference calls late in the game. Regardless of that, you're kind of watching this downwards trajectory for Detroit.
Yes.
You know, a couple of years ago, they're in the NFC title game. They had San Francisco, didn't work out. Then they lose in the divisional playoff to Washington last year. Now they missed the playoffs. I'm starting to wonder. I get they have all these weapons. Amon-Ra and Gibbs and obviously Goff under center. Is the Detroit Lions window closing or closed after what's happened here, Milt?
It's closed, in my opinion. It's closed. And I think what really hit them hard this year is when they lost both of their coordinators. They lost the offense and defensive coordinator. And I know the same players are there, but you can say it's the same system, but it's not the same rhythm. You see Dan Campbell took over calling the offensive plays because he felt the rhythm wasn't there. And that's a slight to your offensive coordinator. How do you think he feels? And it's just not the same team. That window is closed. I mean, because they were on a path to be great. I mean, this first year they were 3-13, and I think they went 9-8 and 12-5. And last year they were 15-2. There were a lot of individuals, a lot of pundits picking them to win it all this year. And now you're not in the playoffs. That window is shut. And the one thing I looked over the last two games that really solidified that window was shut was they weren't able to run the ball and they couldn't stop the run. They've been out rushed in the last two games, almost 400 yards to maybe like 85 yards. That's a sign that some changes need to be made because that was their calling card with their two running backs. And now you can't run the ball, you can't stop the run. Changes need to be made in Detroit.
I agree 100% with Mo. I'm all over that too. I believe that coming into this year, I looked at them as a dominant team the way I'm looking at the Rams right now. That was how I viewed Detroit. And it's just not scary now. They're hanging by a thread. They're competitive and losing games, and the window closes because of salary cap issues and all that. I look at Buffalo's. I thought Buffalo was past that window already, and Josh turns into Superman again and has kept them in the ballpark. And that's kind of where Detroit is now. They're on their way on the downslope, on the backside of that mountain.
Guys, we've spent enough time working in broadcasting. They tell us, be comfortable with silence. When you're comfortable with silence in a broadcast booth or even on set, to let that message resonate for your viewer, that's the name of the game. I almost equate that for a play caller running the football in uncomfortable down and distance situations over the long haul of a football game. And it just seems, and Milt, you're bang on, okay, Jahmyr Gibbs got some touches, not enough. They had a two-headed monster. They weren't feeding him the ball. It just felt like that offense was disjointed from the beginning of the season with three different play callers over the course of the last calendar year.
Well, if you want to talk about running back, I'm ADD. I kick over to another. Derrick Henry not touching the ball.
Oh, I know.
The last part of that game.
In the fourth quarter, basically. Yeah.
But he was becoming a force. He is a force. He took over that game for the third quarter and into the fourth, and the Patriots were in trouble. And then they stopped. He was off the field in the last drive. Anyway, that's my two.
No, and they interviewed Harbaugh, and Harbaugh said, I guess they have a system where they rotate their running backs. And come on, dude. Come on.
Well, they rotate quarterbacks too. Josh, you're out this year. You're out there.
Your system works with 2 minutes to go in the first quarter, not with 2 minutes to go with your season on the line.
I'm sorry. Running backs, maybe if you bust a 60-yard run, you get tired for about 20 seconds. These guys are athletes. They jump back in anytime.
Christmas week, Flutie versus Stegall. The guys are deadlocked on the season on their picks so far, 28-17. To sum up, Doug's taking three favorites. He likes the Pats by 2 scores over the Jets, for Jacksonville to beat Indianapolis, and for the Bills to beat Philadelphia. Milt's on the other side of that. He likes the Eagles. He also likes for the Steelers to keep it rolling by 4 in Cleveland. And he also is going with the Jaguars. Okay, it's Christmas week. Forget the lump of coal. Who's having themselves one heck of a visit from Santa this week? Who's the player of the week? Christmas week coming up in the National Football League. Stegall, let's start with you.
I'm going to go with the man who's going to break the single-season sack record this week, Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett will have 3.5 sacks on Aaron Rodgers, and he'll be my player of the week. Santa Claus, Myles Garrett. There we go, baby.
I'm going with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor's on a roll right now. Trevor's having fun playing football, slinging it around, running with the ball, and he gets to play that Colts defense that we saw the 49ers just rip apart on Monday night. So I think he's got a great situation ahead of him this week with a defense that just couldn't cover anybody on the field.
Yeah.
And he's really feeling confident right now in a good Jaguars team.
I'm keeping the same thing as Milt. It's Christmas Day. We got a triple header. Aiden Hutchinson of the Detroit Lions, elite pass rusher. Minnesota's offensive line without its left tackle, without a starting interior lineman. I have a feeling Billy Jean's going to have something in store there for that Minnesota pass blocking unit.
If they won't let it happen, they'll just run the ball on every play and give up.
You got it. Gentlemen, have a great Christmas.
Yes.
It is a great time of year for football. A couple of weeks to go in the regular season. And then we're getting ready for playoffs. Should be a blast. This is for Doug Flutie, Milt Stegall. I'm Arash Madani. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. Elf on the Shelf quarterback. I love it.